Something huge is about to shake the entire Pi Network community, and the date has already been set, October 19th. But what's about to happen goes way beyond a normal update or announcement. Because behind the scenes, a silent war is unfolding. A conflict that could either make your Pi worth something life-changing or leave it completely worthless. And almost no one is talking about it. Now, before we go deep into this, make sure you've hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You'll want to hear every second of this because what's coming next will decide everything. All right, let's begin. October 19th, a date now being whispered everywhere in the Pi community. This isn't just another random rumor. Doricine Pi, the face behind the global consensus value movement, has just confirmed the third global GCV conference. But she didn't call a meeting. She called a movement. According to her, this gathering is meant to send one bold message to the world, that Pi pioneers are not divided, not confused, but united and ready for the next phase. It's supposed to prove that the Pi community has matured, that we're not just miners tapping our screens, but believers ready to build the future of digital currency. But here's where it gets really interesting. Doris claims she's received a confidential report. Yes, a secret internal audit, suggesting that Pi Network's mainnet code is progressing quietly behind the scenes. According to her, things are moving, but there's a twist that changes everything. The next stage, the one everyone's waiting for, doesn't depend on the developers anymore. It depends on us, the pioneers. She says the timing of the mainnet's full release will be determined by whether the community proves it's ready, not emotionally, but financially. If pioneers rush to dump their Pi for quick profit, the launch will stall. But if we hold strong, if we show that we're here for the long term, the doors could finally open. And that's both inspiring and terrifying, because suddenly the responsibility doesn't sit on the core team anymore. It sits on us. We're being told that the future of Pi isn't waiting on them. It's waiting on us. If that's true, every move we make, every rumor we spread, every trade we consider could literally shape the outcome. But here's where things start to get dark. Because while some are working to unite the movement, others are tearing it apart. The biggest cause? That now famous, controversial number, $314,159 per Pi. The global consensus value community has been promoting it everywhere. On YouTube, Telegram, Facebook, calling it the true value of Pi, tied to the mathematical constant itself. Sounds creative, right? Clever even. But behind the scenes, it's tearing the community apart. There are two sides now. On one, the believers, people who truly think Pi could be worth that symbolic number someday, and refuse to accept any lower valuation. On the other, the realists, people who think that belief is dangerous, that it's driving away serious investors, and that it's giving Pi a reputation of false hope. And this battle is getting nasty. Even influencers like Dr. Alcoin have spoken out, demanding that the core team step in before the damage becomes permanent. He warned that misinformation and unrealistic valuations could cause irreversible harm, driving Pi's price even lower and destroying credibility with exchanges. Right now, it feels like the entire project is at war with itself. The dream is still alive, but the family is fighting. It's like trying to build a house while everyone argues about what color the roof should be. Nothing gets done. Let's talk about what's happening in the market, because the numbers tell a painful truth. Pi's value has been falling hard. In the past month alone, Pi has dropped over 30%, now trading around 26 cents. And if you remember September 22nd, that was a brutal day. Pi crashed nearly 50%, hitting an all-time low that left thousands of pioneers heartbroken. I remember the chats that night. Panic, disbelief, frustration. Some were saying they were done. Others kept saying, hold on, something's coming. But the truth is, while the rest of the crypto market was recovering, Pi didn't follow the trend. It moved in its own strange direction, disconnected, unpredictable. That kind of movement worries analysts because it suggests Pi's price isn't being influenced by regular market patterns, but by internal struggles. Even after the co-founders, Nicholas Kokkolis and Chengyao Fan, appeared at the community event in Seoul, pouring their hearts out, reaffirming their long-term vision, nothing changed. The speech was powerful, The message was inspiring, but the market didn't move. Investors didn't react, and that silence was deafening. That's the reality many pioneers don't want to face. The gap between the team's vision and the token's market value keeps widening. And as that gap grows, more people lose faith. You can see it everywhere. Fewer search results, fewer new miners, fewer active community members. The once unstoppable wave of excitement around Pi Network is slowing down. But Dorothy Pi said something that might explain it all. She said that when institutions and the core team see pioneers behaving with discipline, united, informed, and patient, their confidence grows. But when they see chaos, panic selling, and division, their fear grows instead. That fear? It's the fear of what she calls mass short-term conversion. The idea that everyone might dump their Pi for quick fiat profits. If that happens, the dream collapses. But if pioneers stay calm, if they show strength and unity, she believes nothing can stop what's coming next. And that brings us back to October 19th. This isn't just another event. It's a test. A test of whether Pi Network can stand tall as one voice or crumble under pressure. It's not about the speeches or the live streams. It's about the signal it sends to the world. A united community could finally prove to institutional investors that Pi is no longer a social experiment. It's a movement ready for real-world adoption. But a divided community could destroy that image in seconds. Let me be completely transparent about my view. I'm hopeful but cautious. Yes, Pi's technology is real. The project's foundation is strong, the updates are consistent, and the ecosystem is growing. But none of that matters if the community self-destructs. The global consensus value movement might have been born from good intentions, but it's creating false expectations. Telling pioneers that their Pi is already worth $314,000 when it's trading for 26 cents sets people up for heartbreak. It's not hope, it's illusion. And when that illusion fades, disappointment will hit harder than any bear market. So, October 19th could go one of two ways. It could be the start of Pi's rebirth, a moment of clarity where the entire network rallies together with realistic goals and renewed energy. Or it could become the breaking point where the community's divisions finally erupt in full view of the world. If the leadership uses this moment wisely, if they start having real conversations about timelines, about realistic price ranges, about actual roadmaps, then Pi could still recover. But it's going to take honesty, patience, and maturity from every single pioneer out there. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. I'd rather have a Pi worth $5 built on solid ground than a fantasy worth $314,000 built on sand. Because solid projects last, hype doesn't.